I was the first one that was brought into the van, and my prisoner forced me in to go to this very back seat. Then Steve and Paul were brought in, and they were put on the first bench seat. It was pretty tense and pretty nerve-wracking because the prisoners were so nervous, and they were constantly looking around and seeing what the guards were doing outside of the van. I remember sitting back in the van here and looking for a way of escape. I thought, if I could just break free, maybe I could get away and get out of here. But when I looked around, there was just no way of escape. There was no place for me to go. If I went to the front where the doors were, I would have to go through 3 of those prisoners and their knives, and I just knew that I couldn't get out. And so the hope of being able to get away was absolutely diminishing. I remember as we sat here, the guards wandering around outside with these high-powered rifles, and they would get close to the van, and every time that they would get close to the van just to see where our positions were or where everybody was located, the prisoner would thrust his knife up to my throat, and the threat of death was just constantly there. The windows were beginning to steam up because they had the windows all rolled up, and you could barely see out the windows as the steam was just beginning to fill because it was so hot and humid. And I had many, many thoughts that just began to run through my mind as I sat back here and I just looked around at my situation. And I said, God, if these guards don't stop these men, what will happen? Where will they take us? If they open up this gate and we're able to get out of this prison, where will we go and what will they do? As a woman, my first thought was, will they rape me? Already my prisoner that had me back in the van had kissed me, and I pushed him away, and minutes later he just slapped me across my face for no reason. I remember just staring out the window and just looking intently, hoping that he would want to see what I was looking at, and he would do that. He would then look out the window to see what was happening, what I was looking at, and diverting his attention away from me. It seemed to work for a while, and I was relieved as he would just continue to look outside and see what was happening. I thought about my precious girls at home. I remember thinking, oh God, will I ever see my girls again? I love them so much. And I remembered that last time I saw them was at the airport when we said our goodbyes, and all the hugs and the kisses and the tears. And I thought, God, would you in your mercy spare one of us for them? You see, I knew that God knew whether we were going to live or die. And I knew that He was with us. I could feel His presence. But my mom's heart was going to my girls, and they were so little and so young, and I wanted them to have one of us to help raise them and to help raise them in the ways of the Lord. As I was praying for my girls and praying for our family, I was so deep in thought, I had actually kind of just forgotten what was going on around me, when all of a sudden the van just lurched forward. And when I looked up, I saw that they had opened up the prison gate, and we were starting to head out of the prison gate. And my life was going to change forever.